The massive ship floated in space like a dark mountain. Inside its metal halls, Commander Vextel walked with heavy steps toward the meeting room. His 4 eyes glowed red in the dim light. His claws clicked on the floor with each step. At 12 feet tall, he was bigger than most creatures in the galaxy. His people, the Zephyrians, had never lost a war. The meeting room was full of alien leaders from across the galaxy. They sat around a huge table that glowed with blue light. Each one looked different. Some had crystal skin that sparkled. Others were made of gas and had no solid body. Some looked like giant insects with many arms and legs. Vexthal stopped at the front of the room. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in space. The planet had white clouds and brown land masses. It looked peaceful and quiet. "This is Earth," Vexthal said in a deep voice. "The creatures there call themselves humans. Our scouts have been watching them for many days. They are weak and slow. They have no special powers." One of the crystal beings spoke up. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. "What weapons do they have?" "Simple metal bullets that they shoot from tubes," Vexthal replied. "They also have flying. Machines that drop bombs. But nothing that can hurt our armor." A gas creature floated higher in the air. "Do they have shields or force fields?" "No, they only have thin metal around their cities. A child could break through it." The insect leader clicked its mandibles together. "How many are there?" "About 8 billion. But they fight each other all the time. They cannot work together. They speak different languages and live in different groups. They will surrender quickly. When they see our power," Vexthal touched a control panel. The hologram changed to show human cities. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Cars moved on roads like tiny ants. People walked on sidewalks, going about their daily lives. "Look how soft they are," Vexthal continued. "They have no fur, no scales, no armor. Their skin tears easily. They need machines to fly. They need clothes to stay warm. They are the weakest species we have ever found." The alien leaders nodded their heads or moved their bodies in agreement. They had seen this many times before. The Zephyrians would attack a planet. The people there would fight for a few hours. Then they would give up and become slaves. "How long will it take?" asked the crystal being. 3 days at most," Vexthal said with confidence. "Maybe less. These humans have never fought anyone from space. They will be so scared they might surrender without fighting. Far away from this." Meeting on Earth's moon, Captain John Blake sat in a small room full of computers and screens. He was looking through a powerful telescope at the dark shapes moving in space. The shapes were getting bigger and closer. "Sarah, you need to see this," John called to the woman sitting at the radio controls. Lieutenant Sarah Kim rolled her chair over to John's telescope. She looked through the eyepiece and gasped. "Those aren't meteors." "No, they're not," John said. "Quietly, those are ships. Big ones. And there are a lot of them." Sarah counted the shapes on her computer screen. "I see at least 200, maybe more. They're arranged in attack formation." John picked up his radio. "Luna Base to Earth Control. We have a situation up here." Back on Earth, in the White House, President Lisa Carter was eating breakfast when her phone rang. The caller ID said it was the Secretary of Defense. "Madam President, we need you in the Situation Room right now." 10 minutes later, President Carter walked into the underground room filled with screens and military officers. General Mike Rodriguez stood at the front, pointing at a large display. "These satellite images were taken an hour ago," the general said. "Unknown objects are approaching Earth. They're not from any country on our planet." President Carter stared at the screen. The objects looked like huge teardrops made of metal and bone. They moved in perfect lines, like soldiers marching. "How?" Many? She asked. At least 300 ships. The smallest ones are bigger than our aircraft carriers. We've tried to contact them on every radio frequency we have. They don't answer. In the cities below, people went about their normal day. They drove to work, sent their children to school, bought coffee from street vendors. They had no idea that alien eyes were watching them from space. The aliens saw humans as simple animals. They saw the cars and planes and thought they were toys. They saw the buildings and thought they were weak. They saw people walking around and thought they would be easy to catch. But the aliens made one big mistake. They thought humans were like every other species in the galaxy. They thought humans would follow the same rules. They thought humans would give up when the fight got hard. They were about to learn something that would shock the entire galaxy. Humans don't follow rules when it comes to survival. Humans don't give up. And when humans are backed into a corner, they become the most dangerous creatures in the universe. The invasion ships moved closer to Earth. Inside them, Zephyrian warriors sharpened their claws and checked their armor. They expected this to be easy. They expected the humans to run and hide. They had no idea what was coming. The sun was just coming up over New York City when the first alien ship landed in Central Park. The ground shook as the massive vessel touched down, crushing trees and benches under its weight. People screamed and ran in all directions as the ship's doors opened with a loud hiss. Commander Vextel stepped out first. His 12-foot frame cast a long shadow in the morning light. Behind him came 50 Zephyrian warriors, each one armed with energy weapons and covered in bioarmor that looked like black metal mixed with bone. "Begin the capture," Vextal ordered. His warriors spread out across the park, moving toward the city streets. The first human soldiers arrived within minutes. Sergeant Tony Martinez led his squad around the corner, their rifles ready. When they saw the aliens, Tony's heart jumped, but he didn't run. "Open fire!" Tony shouted. The soldiers shot their rifles at the aliens. The bullets hit the bioarmor and bounced off like raindrops. The aliens didn't even slow down. One of them pointed a strange weapon at the soldiers. A beam of green light shot out and melted a car next to them. "Fall back," Tony yelled. His squad ran behind a building to hide. This same scene happened in 12 cities around the world. London, Tokyo, Los Angeles, Moscow. Everywhere the aliens landed, human soldiers tried to fight them with normal weapons. And everywhere, the weapons didn't work. News reporters on TV showed the aliens walking through the streets. People drove away in their cars as fast as they could. The aliens seemed unstoppable. In his command ship above Earth, Vextal watched the reports and smiled. "Just as we thought. They are running away already." But Tony Martinez wasn't running away. He was thinking. While his squad caught their breath behind the building, Tony looked at his useless rifle and then at the construction site across the street. "Jenny, what kind of equipment do they have over there?" he asked Corporal Jenny Adams. Jenny looked through her binoculars. "Looks like they're working on the subway. I see welding gear, cutting torches, some kind of chemical tanks. Cutting torches burn hot enough to cut through steel, right?" "Yeah, but Tony, those things aren't weapons." Tony grinned. "Everything's a weapon if you use it right." Across town, Mechanic Pete Johnson was hiding in his garage when he heard the news on the radio. The reporter said bullets couldn't hurt the aliens. Pete looked around his shop at all the car parts and tools. "Bullets don't work, huh?" Pete said to himself. He picked up a car battery and some jumper cables. Let's see how they like electricity. In Los Angeles, chemistry teacher Dr. Amy Foster was trapped in her school with 30 other people. Through the window, she could see aliens walking down the street, looking for humans to capture. Amy looked at her chemistry lab full of bottles and equipment. "Mrs. Foster, said one of the janitors. "What are we going to do?" Amy picked up a bottle of pool cleaner from the supply closet. Then she grabbed some other chemicals from her lab. "We're going to give these aliens a chemistry lesson they'll never forget." The aliens expected humans to keep using the same failed tactics. In every other conquest, the local species would try the same attacks over and over until they gave up. But humans were different. By noon, strange reports were coming back to the alien command ships. In Detroit, Pete Johnson had figured out how to make an electromagnetic pulse using car parts. When an alien warrior got too close to his garage, Pete hit it with electrical current that made its armor stop working. In New York, Tony Martinez and his squad had raided the construction site. They turned welding torches into flamethrowers and used chemical tanks to make explosives. When the aliens came around the corner, the humans hit them with fire hot enough to melt metal. The most shocking report came from Chicago. Staff Sergeant Carlos Ramirez had done something impossible. He had actually killed a Zephyrian warrior, using nothing but a fire truck, some steel cables, and tactics that made no sense to alien minds. Carlos had noticed that the aliens were very confident. They walked in straight lines and didn't watch for traps. So Carlos and his team set up an ambush, using the fire truck's ladder and some construction cables. When the alien warrior walked under the ladder, Carlos dropped the steel cables around its neck and used the fire truck's engine to pull the cables tight. The alien's armor was strong, but even it couldn't protect against being strangled by steel cables. Pulled by a truck engine. Commander Vextel stared at the report on his screen. "This is impossible. No primitive species has ever killed one of ours. Our warriors." "Sir," said his science officer, "the humans are not fighting like other species. They are changing their tactics every few hours. They are using tools we did not know could be weapons." In space, Captain Linda Shaw paced the bridge of the USS Franklin, humanity's only spaceship. She had been exploring deep space when the invasion began. Now she was racing back to Earth. "Communications. Patch me through to all resistance fighters." "On Earth," she ordered. "Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Shaw of the USS Franklin to all human forces. I know it looks bad down there, but you're doing something amazing. The aliens expect you to fight like everyone else in the galaxy. But you're not everyone else. You're human. Keep adapting. Keep learning. Make them sorry they picked a fight with Earth." On the alien command ship, Vexthel called an emergency meeting with his officers. "The humans are not behaving according to any known patterns," he said. "They should have surrendered by now. Instead, they are becoming more dangerous. Perhaps we should increase the orbital bombardment," suggested one officer. "No," Vexthel said. "That would destroy the planet. We need the humans alive to work as slaves. Send in more warriors. These primitives cannot adapt forever." But down on Earth, Dr. Amy Foster had just figured out how to make acid bombs from swimming pool chemicals. Pete Johnson was teaching other mechanics how to build electromagnetic weapons from car parts. And Tony Martinez was showing other soldiers how to turn everyday tools into alien-killing devices. The humans weren't just adapting. They were sharing what they learned. Across the planet, resistance fighters talked to each other on radios and the internet. Every new discovery spread to other cities within hours. For the first time in 300 years of conquest, the Zephyrian Empire was facing something they had never seen before. An enemy that got stronger every time they learned something new. An enemy that refused to accept defeat. An enemy that could turn anything into a weapon. The invasion was supposed to be over in 3 days. Instead, it was turning into the Zephyrians' worst nightmare. Day 2 of the invasion began with something that had never happened in Zephyrian history. Their advance had completely stopped. In every city they had attacked, human resistance was getting stronger instead of weaker. Dr. Susan Wright sat in a basement of MIT, surrounded by pieces of broken alien equipment. She hadn't slept in 36 hours, but her eyes were bright with discovery. Around her, other scientists worked with whatever tools they could find. "I've got it!" Susan shouted suddenly. Everyone in the basement stopped working and looked. At her, "The alien armor has a weakness," she explained, holding up a small device she had built from spare parts. "Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. If we can match that frequency with sound waves, we can make their armor shake itself apart." Dr. Kevin Torres looked up from his work table. "How do we generate sound waves that strong?" Susan smiled. "Ever heard of a sonic boom? We just need to make a smaller, more focused version." Across the country in Chicago, former Marine Bobby Chun had made his own discovery. He was hiding in an abandoned warehouse with a group of survivors when he noticed something strange about the alien warriors. "They always move in the same patterns," Bobby told his team. "And they seem to know where each other are, even when they can't see each other. How is that possible?" Asked one of the civilians. Bobby pointed to his nose. "Smell. I think they communicate through scent. Like dogs, but more advanced." He looked around the warehouse at all the chemicals and materials stored there. "If we can mess up their ability to smell, we can confuse them." Bobby's team started, mixing everything they could find that had a strong odor. Paint thinner, cleaning chemicals, burning rubber, even rotten food. They created a fog of different smells that made it impossible for the aliens to coordinate their attacks. Meanwhile, in Miami, Captain Danny Foster was learning something important about alien tactics. The Zephyrians always attacked from the same direction. They never expected anyone to fight back from the water. Danny gathered every boat owner in the city. Fishing boats, speedboats, even old sailboats. They loaded the boats with homemade explosives and launched surprise attacks from the ocean. "They expect us to run away from the water," Danny explained to his volunteers. "So that's the last place they'll look for us." The alien warriors were built for fighting on land. When humans started attacking from the sea, the aliens had no idea how to respond. In the alien command ship, Commander Vextal was getting reports that made no sense to him. "Sir, the humans in New York have developed some kind of sonic weapon. It's causing armor failures. And in Chicago, our warriors are reporting communication breakdowns. They can't maintain formation. Miami forces are under attack from the water. Our warriors don't know how to fight on boats." Vextal slammed his fist on the control panel. "How are these primitives adapting so quickly? No species learns this fast." His science officer pulled up data on human brain scans. "Sir, I've been studying their neural patterns. Human brains are different from every other species we know. They can process new information and create solutions in real time, even under extreme stress." "That's impossible." "I thought so too, sir. But the evidence is clear. When other species face a problem they can't solve, they give up or die. When humans face the same problem, they find a new way to solve it. On Earth, the human resistance was growing stronger every hour. In underground tunnels and hidden bunkers, people were working together in ways the aliens couldn't understand. Maria Santos had been a high school teacher before the invasion. Now she was coordinating supply lines for 3 different resistance cells. She used her knowledge of the city's layout to move weapons and food through abandoned subway tunnels. "The aliens control the streets," Maria explained to a group of volunteers, "but they don't know about the tunnels. We can move anywhere in the city without them seeing us." Teenager Alex Johnson had taken over his school's radio equipment. From the basement of the building, he was broadcasting instructions to resistance fighters across the entire state. "This is Free Radio Earth," Alex said into his microphone. "Dr. Wright's sonic weapon works best at 847 megahertz. Bobby Chan's chemical fog needs to be mixed with 2 parts paint thinner to 1 part cleaning fluid. Captain Foster says boats work better than land vehicles because aliens can't swim. The sharing of information was happening faster than the aliens thought possible. Every human discovery was spread to thousands of other fighters within hours. In Boston, mechanic Sam Davis had figured out how to turn delivery trucks into mobile weapons platforms. In Phoenix, Chef Maria Rodriguez was using her chemistry knowledge to make better explosives from kitchen supplies. In Seattle, computer programmer Janet Miller had hacked into the global internet to coordinate resistance efforts worldwide. But the moment that truly changed everything happened in a small town. In Kansas, 12-year-old Emma Carter was playing with her toy drone when she saw an alien scout ship landing near her house. Emma's father had taught her about electronics. She knew how to build simple circuits and program small computers. As she watched the alien ship, Emma had an idea. She took apart her drone and rebuilt it with parts from her father's workshop. She added a small explosive device and programmed the drone to fly directly into the alien ship's engine. The drone was too small for the aliens to notice. It flew straight into their ship and exploded. The scout ship crashed, and for the first time, humans had shot down an alien aircraft using technology built by a child. The video of Emma's victory was broadcast around the world. It became a symbol of human determination. If a 12-year-old girl could defeat alien technology with toys and spare parts, then anything was possible. Commander Vexthal watched the video with growing fear. A human child did this? With primitive materials? Yes, sir. And now other humans are copying her design. We're receiving reports of drone attacks in 37 cities. For 300 years, the Zephyrian Empire had been the most feared force in the galaxy. They had conquered 17 star systems. No species had ever resisted them for more than 2 days. But now, on day 3 of the Earth invasion, something unprecedented was happening. The Zephyrians were losing. Request immediate reinforcements, Vexthal ordered. Send every available ship. Sir, are you sure? We've never needed reinforcements against a primitive species. These humans are not like other species, Vexthal said quietly. They don't know when to quit, and they learn from every mistake. If we don't stop them now, they might actually win. Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations were watching the battle with amazement. The small blue planet that no one had ever heard of was doing the impossible. They were defeating the Zephyrian Empire. And the humans were just getting started. Day 5 changed everything. The humans were no longer just surviving. They were winning. Aerospace engineer Lisa Park stood in an abandoned airplane hangar, staring at something that shouldn't exist. Using nothing but salvaged alien parts, car, engines, and basic physics, she had built a flying machine that could hover in the air like the alien ships. If they can fly, so can we, Lisa said to her team of volunteers. Most of them were mechanics and engineers who had never worked together before the invasion. But now they were building aircraft that could match alien technology. Lisa's first test flight lasted only 30 seconds, but it was enough. The homemade aircraft flew straight up, hovered for a moment, then landed safely. For the first time since the invasion began, humans had air superiority. Get on the radio, Lisa told her communications officer. Tell every resistance cell that we can build these things. Send them the blueprints. Across town, Dr. Kevin Torres made an even more important discovery. In his makeshift laboratory, he had been studying alien biology using samples from the battlefield. What he found changed the entire war. The aliens are poisonous to us, Kevin explained to the other scientists, but we're poisonous to them too. Human saliva contains compounds that are toxic to their nervous system. Dr. Wright looked up from her sonic weapon research. How toxic? Very. A small amount can paralyze them. A larger amount can kill them. So we can make biological weapons. Using our own spit? Kevin nodded. And it gets better. We can synthesize the compound using common medical supplies. Aspirin, cough syrup, vitamin C, mix them in the right proportions. And we have a weapon that no alien armor can protect against. While the scientists worked on new weapons, ordinary people continued finding new ways to fight. Auto mechanic Sam Davis had perfected his mobile artillery design. His converted delivery trucks could fire homemade rockets while driving at full speed. The trick is to keep moving, Sam explained to other mechanics over the radio. The aliens expect us to stay in one place and fight. But we can build our weapons on wheels and take the fight to them. Chef Maria Rodriguez had turned her restaurant into a weapons factory. Using her knowledge of chemistry, she was mass-producing incendiary devices from kitchen supplies. Cooking and making explosives aren't that different, Maria told her volunteers. Both require the right ingredients mixed in the right proportions. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Computer programmer Janet Miller had been working for 3 days straight, surviving on coffee and determination. She had managed to hack into the alien communication network. I can hear everything they're saying, Janet announced to the resistance. Leaders. And better yet, I can make them hear whatever we want them to hear. Within hours, Janet was broadcasting false orders to alien units. She sent warriors to empty buildings while human fighters attacked from behind. She made alien commanders think their reinforcements were coming from the wrong direction. The confusion in alien ranks was immediate and devastating. For a species that relied on perfect coordination, communication breakdowns were catastrophic. Commander Vexthal received his worst report yet from the battlefield. Sir, we've lost contact with 17 units. Enemy aircraft are attacking our ground forces. They appear to have developed anti-personnel biological weapons. How is this possible? Vexthal demanded. They're using our own technology against us. Not just using it, sir. They're improving it. Their aircraft are cruder than ours, but they're faster and more maneuverable. Their weapons are simpler, but they're more effective. The breaking point came when the humans launched their first coordinated counterattack. Dr. Wright's sonic weapons disabled alien armor. Dr. Torres's biological weapons paralyzed alien warriors. Lisa Park's aircraft provided air support. And all of it was coordinated by Janet Miller's hacked communication network. Former Army Rangers Jake Thompson and Amy Wilson led the ground assault on the alien command post in New York. Behind them came a mix of soldiers, police officers, firefighters, and armed civilians. Remember, Jake told his fighters over the radio, we're not trying to be heroes. We're trying to win. Use every advantage we have. The attack began at dawn. Human aircraft dove from the sky, firing rockets at alien positions. Sonic weapons screamed through the air, causing alien armor to crack and shatter. Biological weapons turned proud Zephyrian warriors into helpless victims. But the moment that defined the battle came when 12-year-old Emma Carter joined the fight. She had built an entire squadron of attack drones using toys, electronics, and determination. Her drones swarmed the alien command post like angry bees. The aliens had no defense against weapons they couldn't see coming. Emma's tiny drones flew through their defenses and destroyed their equipment from the inside. Within 6 hours, the alien command post was in human hands. For the first time in galactic history, a Zephyrian stronghold had fallen to a primitive species. News of the victory spread around the world faster than any alien communication. Resistance fighters in every city launched their own attacks. The species that had been running and hiding just days before was now hunting their former hunters. In London, resistance fighters used the city's ancient tunnel system to attack aliens from below. In Tokyo, martial arts masters had figured out how to fight alien warriors hand to hand using techniques thousands of years old. In Moscow, former soldiers had turned the subway system into a fortress that aliens couldn't penetrate, but perhaps the most symbolic victory came in Los Angeles. A group of movie stunt drivers had figured out how to use cars as weapons against alien aircraft. They drove up building ramps and launched their vehicles at alien ships flying overhead. "If it works in the movies," said stunt driver Rick Johnson, "it might work in real life." And it did work. The sight of human cars flying through the air to ram alien spaceships became one of the most famous images of the war. Commander Vexthal made the most difficult decision in Zephyrian military history. He called for the elite shock troops, the warriors who had never known defeat in 3 centuries of conquest. "Send everything we have," he ordered. "If we cannot defeat these humans now, we may never defeat them." The elite warriors arrived from across the galaxy. They were bigger, stronger, and better armed than the regular Zephyrian forces. They had conquered civilizations that regular warriors couldn't handle. They lasted exactly 6 hours against human resistance. The elite forces faced teenagers with toy drones, mechanics with modified car parts, teachers with chemistry sets, and children with homemade weapons. They faced a species that had turned every aspect of their daily lives into tools of war. Most importantly, they faced humans who had learned that the impossible was just another problem to solve. When the last elite warrior fell to a weapon made from kitchen supplies and determination, the galaxy knew that something fundamental had changed. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over, and the age of humanity had begun. Day 7 brought something that had never happened in the 300-year history of the Zephyrian Empire. Commander Vexthal stood before his control panel and did the impossible. He ordered a full retreat. "All units, withdraw to the ships," he announced to his scattered forces. "Prepare for immediate departure from this system." His officers stared at him in shock. "Sir, are you ordering a retreat?" "I am ordering survival," Vexthal replied quietly. "These humans are not like other species. They cannot be conquered because they refuse to accept conquest." Around the Earth, alien ships began lifting off from the cities they had occupied. Human resistance fighters watched in amazement as their attackers fled back to Space Dot in New York. Tony Martinez stood in Central Park, where the invasion had begun a week earlier. The alien command post was now a pile of twisted metal and broken equipment. Around him, volunteers were cleaning up the damage and celebrating their victory. "We actually did it," Tony said to Jenny Adams. "We beat them." "Not just beat them," Jenny replied. "We scared them so badly they ran away." Captain Linda Shaw brought the USS Franklin home to a planet that was completely different from the one she had left. The small spaceship landed at Cape Canaveral, where thousands of people had gathered to welcome her back. "Communications, open a channel to Earth," Linda ordered. "Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Shaw to all of Earth. We are no longer alone in the universe. But we have proven that we are not the weakest species in it. We are something the galaxy has never seen before. We are human." The celebration was interrupted by a new message from space. Communications Officer Ben Adams looked up from his console with surprise. "Captain, we're receiving signals from across the galaxy. Dozens of different species want to talk to us." "What are they saying?" Ben listened to his equipment for a moment. "They're calling us the unconquerable ones, Captain. They want to be our allies." President Lisa Carter addressed the world from the steps of the rebuilt Capitol building. Behind her stood representatives of every group that had fought in the resistance. Scientists, soldiers, mechanics, teachers, children, and grandparents. 7 days ago, we learned that we were not alone in the universe, President Carter said. "We also learned that the universe is full of species who have accepted limits on what they can achieve. We have shown them that humans don't accept limits. We turned toys into weapons. We turned kitchens into laboratories. We turned ordinary people into extraordinary heroes. We proved that the most powerful force in the universe is not advanced technology or superior strength. It's the refusal to give up. Across the galaxy, the news of human victory spread faster than light. Species that had been enslaved by the Zephyrians for centuries suddenly realized that resistance was possible. On the crystal world of Nethros, the people who had been forced to mine precious stones for their conquerors stopped working and looked up at the sky. If humans could defeat the Zephyrians, maybe they could too. On the gas giant Volturia, floating cities that had served the Empire for generations began to disconnect from the Zephyrian communication network. Freedom was possible. On the insect world of Crexia, billions of worker drones suddenly realized they didn't have to follow orders from their alien masters. They had a choice. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting, but this time the tone was completely different. Instead of planning another conquest, they were trying to figure out how to deal with the species that had changed everything. The Nethrani delegate spoke first. We propose immediate diplomatic contact with the human species. Any civilization capable of defeating the Zephyrians deserves our respect. The Volturi representative agreed. Their resistance capabilities suggest they would make powerful allies. Even the Krex, who had traditionally supported Zephyrian expansion, voted for peaceful contact. The humans have proven that conquest is not inevitable. This changes the balance of power in the galaxy. Back on Earth, Dr. Susan Wright found herself appointed as the planet's first director of xenological studies. Her job was to prepare humanity for contact with alien civilizations. Her first report to President Carter was both exciting and sobering. Based on intercepted communications, we appear to be unique in the galaxy. Most species develop along specialized lines. They become very good at one thing, but they can't adapt when situations change. What makes us different? The president asked. We're generalists. We can learn to do anything. We adapt to new situations by finding new solutions. Most species in the galaxy have been the same for millions of years. We've been changing and growing for our entire history. And that scares them? That terrifies them. They've built their entire civilization on the idea that each species has limits. We just proved that idea wrong. 6 months later, the first official meeting between Earth and the Galactic Council took place on a neutral space station. The human delegation included Dr. Wright, President Carter, Captain Shaw, and representatives from every field that had contributed to the resistance. Emma Carter, now 13, was also part of the delegation. Her toy drone victory had become famous across the galaxy as proof of human ingenuity. As their ship approached the council station, Dr. Wright looked out at the massive structure. It was built by dozens of different species, each contributing their specialized skills. But she knew that humans could have built the entire thing themselves, given enough time and materials. Are you nervous? President Carter asked. No, Dr. Wright replied. I'm excited. We're about to show the galaxy what humans can really do when we're not fighting for our lives. The meeting hall was enormous, filled with representatives from hundreds of different worlds. As the human delegation entered, the entire council fell silent. These were the beings who had done the impossible. The council leader, an ancient crystalline being, spoke first. Welcome, people of Earth. Your species has accomplished something we believed was impossible. You have redefined our understanding of what life can achieve. President Carter stepped forward. We're honored to be here, but we didn't come to boast about our victory. We came to learn. The universe is big enough for all of us to succeed together. What do humans want from the galaxy? Asked the Volturi delegate. The same thing we've always wanted, Dr. Wright replied. To explore, to learn, and to grow. We want to see what's out there and find our place in the larger universe. And if other species threaten you, Emma Carter surprised everyone by speaking up. Then we'll do what we always do. We'll find a way to win. The council members looked at the 13-year-old girl who had defeated alien technology with toys and spare parts. In her simple answer, they heard the truth about humanity. Humans didn't win because they were stronger or smarter than other species. They won because they refused to accept that winning was impossible. They turned every disadvantage into an advantage and every problem into a solution. Former Commander Vextel, now a refugee from his own collapsing empire, watched the council, meeting from a distant observation deck. He had written a final report about his encounter with humanity that was being studied across the galaxy. We thought we understood warfare, Vextel had written. We thought superior technology and physical strength determined victory. We were wrong. The humans possess something far more dangerous than weapons or armor. They possess the absolute refusal to accept defeat. They see impossible odds not as a reason to surrender, but as a puzzle to solve. They do not accept the limitations that govern other species. When we destroyed their weapons, they built new ones. When we adapted to their tactics, they invented completely different tactics. When we brought our elite forces, they turned children's toys into military equipment. Most terrifying of all, they share everything they learn. Every human discovery immediately becomes available to all humans. They fight as one species with 8 billion minds working together. The Zephyrian Empire had crumbled within 6 months of the failed Earth invasion. Subject worlds rebelled, inspired by humanity's example. The Zephyrian military, demoralized by their first defeat in 3 centuries, could not maintain control. But the humans offered something unexpected. Instead of revenge, they offered help. We know what it's like to be invaded, President Carter had said in her address to former Zephyrian worlds. We also know what it's like to be free. We're willing to share what we've learned about both. Human engineers helped rebuild worlds that had been damaged by the Empire's collapse. Human doctors treated species that had been neglected by their former rulers. Human teachers shared the secrets of adaptation and innovation. Most importantly, humans offered something the galaxy had never seen before: friendship without conquest. The transformation was remarkable. Within a year of first contact, human technology was spreading across the galaxy. But it wasn't being taken by force. It was being shared freely, improved by alien minds, and shared again. The Nethrani learned to combine their energy manipulation with human engineering, creating power sources that were both efficient and adaptable. The Volturi discovered that their phase-shifting abilities worked perfectly with human stealth technology. Even former Zephyrian warriors found new purpose working alongside human peacekeepers. Emma Carter, now 14, had become something of a celebrity across the galaxy. Young beings from dozens of species came to Earth to learn from.